Have you heard about the $500 million art heist that remains unsolved to this day, with empty frames still hanging in the museum? Stay tuned. Have you heard on March 18, 1990, two men disguised as Boston police officers pulled off the largest art heist in world history at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. After claiming they were responding to a disturbance call, these fake cops handcuffed the security guards in the basement, and they spent 81 minutes stealing 13 masterpieces valued at over $500 million. Hey, we're talking Rembrandt, Vermeer, Degas, Manet, the art world's A-listers. But here's the kicker. 35 years later, not a single artwork has been recovered, and the museum still displays the empty frames where these masterpieces once hung, as required by Isabella Gardner's will. The FBI believes the thieves are likely deceased, but the $10 million reward remains active. I guess you could say this case really has been framed as an unsolvable mystery. Have you heard? Today we're celebrating National Sloppy Joe Day. Oh, that's right, an entire day dedicated to that deliciously messy sandwich that's been the downfall of countless white shirts since the 1930s. While the exact origin is debated, many credit Sloppy Joe Russell, who owned a bar in Key West, frequented by Ernest Hemingway. Legend has it that Russell's cook added tomato sauce to the loose meat sandwiches they were serving, and voila, culinary history was made. The average American school cafeteria serves over 45 million Sloppy Joes annually, making it the fifth most popular school lunch item. So tonight, embrace the chaos, grab extra napkins, and remember, if it's not dripping down your arms, well, apparently you're not eating it right. Have you heard? On this day in 1965, Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov became the first human to perform a spacewalk, floating outside his Vashkod 2 spacecraft for 12 minutes and 9 seconds. But this historic achievement nearly ended in disaster when his spacesuit ballooned in the vacuum of space, making it impossible for him to re-enter the airlock. You can picture that, right? Leonov had to secretly bleed air from his suit to shrink it enough to squeeze back inside. Smart guy. A dangerous gamble, though, that could have caused decompression sickness. Upon returning to Earth, the cosmonauts landed off course in the Ural Mountains and spent 2 freezing nights surrounded by wolves before rescue teams reached them. Talk about an out-of-this-world commute problem. Hey, today I found out that the world's oldest known melody with notation is the Hurrian Hymn No. 6, discovered on a clay tablet in Syria dating back to approximately 1400 BCE. That's over 3,400 years old, making it the ancient equivalent of finding your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's mixtape. The hymn was dedicated to Nikal, the goddess of orchards, and was written in cuneiform text using a 7-note diatonic scale that's surprisingly similar to our modern musical scales. Musicologists have recreated the hymn using period-appropriate instruments like the lyre, and you can actually listen to this ancient tune online. Oh, those ancient Mesopotamians dropping beats before it was cool. And finally, speaking of March 18th, did you know it's also when New Orleans celebrates St. Joseph's Day with their iconic Italian-American parades? Instead of throwing beads like during Mardi Gras, these parades feature floats where participants throw vegetables, especially cabbages. Geez, that would hurt. That's right, the streets of New Orleans literally turn green with flying produce. One year, a tourist caught a massive cabbage and yelled to a local, "What am I supposed to do with this?" The local replied, "Make coleslaw, of course." The tourist looked confused and said, "But I don't have any mayonnaise." The local winked and said, "Don't worry, they'll be throwing that in the parade tomorrow." The tourist waited all day the next day for flying condiments. Talk about a real Mayo Clinic of disappointments. And speaking of dad-worthy punchlines that'll leave your family in groans, have you checked out our dad joke button? Take a listen.
Are snails faster without their shells? No, they're more sluggish.
And that's all for today's edition of Have You Heard? Please leave a comment if you learned something mind-blowing. I'm Troy W. Hudson, the voiceover with personality. Until next time, why don't you stay curious?